Are you running out of space in your warehouse? Is this a concern for you? Well, stay tuned, people, because it is me, your mate Narlin, and we are gonna go for a little trip to the blacksmith today. But before we do that, we're gonna destroy this ship. Because nothing's better than starting a video off with a little bit of combat. So stick around, people, because we are going to have a wee look at freeing up some space in your inventory, and we are also going to have a look at weapon ascensions and things like that. Now, as you can see, I'm actually running my demi cannons, which are doing quite a bit of damage at the moment. Oh, for some reason I cannot actually take this this guy out, so he must be resetting or heading back to port. It's mildly frustrating when they do that. Oh, there you go, he has been destroyed. So, nice little haul there. Now, you may have noticed that that particular enemy had his flare going on the top of his ship. So, that is a sure sign, people, that he is carrying good cargo. So if you're watching the bottom right hand side there, you would have seen I picked up about 300 pieces of 8 there, as well as some various other cargo. So for those of you who aren't aware, those ships with flares above them, they do give you some very good cargo. I'm also doing a quick pickup here at the lumber yard before we go into port. So today's video, I did get a little bit distracted here at the beginning, but that was really because I just wanted to go shoot some ships before we went into port. So we're at Taluk Pinjara today, and we're going to go and have a wee chat to our mate at the blacksmith. So give it a few seconds and we'll get into port. Now guys, once again, I know I've got a few regular viewers out there, which I am extremely grateful for. Thank you so much for those of you who have been making comments, have been liking the videos, and who are clearly subscribed. If you are a casual or new watcher, please consider giving me a subscription, a like, and a comment. I do reply to comments. I'm only little at the moment. I've only got about 100 subscribers, so it's not too hard for me to manage the comments. So you will actually hear from me if you throw a comment in. And I've got a little bit of a shout out at the moment. Speedus, I know you're out on holiday at the moment, and you have called me out for a video on furniture, and we will be doing a video on furniture, so stick around. That will be coming at some stage. I'm just putting that together in my head as to how we're going to run that video. So today's video is all about salvaging items and ascending items. So this is one of the newer, I would say newer, but it's been out for a couple of seasons now, was ascending weapons, and we should all be familiar with ascending our weapons now. You can see I have a hell of a lot of ascended purple weapons sitting there. But here's the thing. If we go through all of my ascended weapons, well, all of my weapons, look at how many I've got. It's ridiculous. You don't need that much weaponry. So this is where salvaging comes into play. So we can see here on my warehouse I've got roughly 80 odd spots available left in my warehouse. If you are running out of warehouse space, which I know is a problem for a lot of people, there's a few things you can do. You can go and grab some items and go and sell them, obviously, or you can come into your blacksmith and do some salvaging. Now, the important thing about salvaging is look, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I like to have at least one of every weapon. But these ascended, see these individually ascended weapons here, they take up one individual slot in your warehouse, whereas I have 10 standard fast scourges, alright, fast scourges 3s, and those take up 1 slot in my warehouse. But all these once ascended items take up an individual slot. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of them. Now, if you have a look on your right-hand side, you'll see what gets salvaged out of these guns. Now, actually, there is quite a lot of good items in there. We're going to go through and salvage again, so you can see that. 2 glass sheets, 2 screw mechanisms, precision drill bit, upgrade parts. Those are all really essential items for when you ascend weapons. So, when you go through and salvage, you can actually pick up quite a bit of kit. So I'm going to go through and salvage some of those. I'll keep those ones there. Now, it is important to not salvage everything you have, because you might need it one day. See, I've got a few ash breakers here, so we could probably salvage these. Now, these purple ones are going to give us better items in theory. In theory, you have a look on the right-hand side there. A torsion spring and a couple of upgrade parts. Yeah, it's about on par with what we're getting for the blue items. So, these weapons that are excess to requirements can all be ascended, really. As I say, though, you might want to hold on to a few that you might use in the future. These Lafleurs, for example, Crouching Tigers. These are all ones that you want to keep. But, yeah, maybe these green ones you don't really need. So we'll get rid of these mortars as well. Alright. Nice and easy. Alright, you just go through and get rid of them. We also have furniture that we can get rid of here, and you can see I've got these accelerated gun rails. I've got quite a few of them. We're just going to get rid of 7 of them, because that's just going to help out with some items. So you see there, I've got 4 deep iron. Now that is key, because deep iron is one of those resources that everyone is needing at the moment. So it is important to go through and just have a bit of a clean out of your of your stockpiles here. Look, I could take this down to really 1 or 2 individual items, but I'm just going to, this is for the purpose of this video, we're just going to go through and do a few of them so you can see what is actually happening there. Now, you can see already, I think I've freed up about 10 slots in my warehouse inventory, right? And there's a couple of other items that are sitting there on my ship. So, that is a really important thing to do, guys. If you are struggling for resources, now if we go, I shouldn't have walked away from the blacksmith. I got on a tangent, people. But if you go into ascend items, and let's just find something that isn't fully ascended yet. So this Agni's Fury, right? So to fully ascend this item, we need sinew screws, worm drives, ill-sturdy ropes, which traditionally have been quite difficult to get a hold of, ascension modules, and masterwork kits. You can see here that I have got a fairly decent stockpile in almost all of those things except for sinew strings and ill-sturdy ropes, right? So by salvaging your weapons, you are actually increasing your stockpile, which is making it easier for you to ascend your weapons when you need to. So, ascend this to level 3. Happy days. Now, the next part of your weapon ascension is obviously looking at what these are and whether they are fit for purpose for your playstyle. So, restore readiness, that's probably one that we're not too interested in, so we're going to reforge that. Amplified piercing, that looks like fun, so we're gonna leave that one on there. So this Agni's Fury, you can see it adds explosive damage. That's appropriate because it is a fire weapon. Siege, yeah, probably don't need that one as well, because again, it's a fire weapon. It's not really there for structure damage. All right, so we're going to go through and reforge that. Look at that. The new one is Siege. Happy days. Right, increase build-up of vulnerable status by 38%. That looks fine to me, so we're going to leave that one on there. So you can actually chew through a lot of resources by reforging your modification, or just ascending the weapon in the first place. So that's why going through and salvaging your items is really important. So the two benefits of salvaging your items are, one, it frees up space in your warehouse, and two, it gives you resources that you need to ascend other weapons or for building ships, for example. All right, so where are we? We're in Teluk Punjara, so that means that the warehouse I have just run past. So let's have a quick look at the warehouse. Now, I've got about 80, 90 slots available now, so I've got plenty of room, but I know it is a struggle for a lot of people. The other thing that you can look at here is some non-essential items that you might be able to get rid of or sell. Hippo meat, for example, there's only 2 of them. You might want to sell that and free up a slot. Look at that. 20,000 rockets, always need those. A little bit of copper there. You know, again, it's not really, it's something I can pick up easily or buy. Some of the planks are useful, but you can see there is a lot of scope to actually free up some space in your inventory. All right. Now, one last thing I wanted to touch on, since we've got a little bit of time, we're going to go to our mate Blackwood, which is over here. Mr. Blackwood, how are you today?
I cannot wait to report of your success.
Now, one thing I didn't cover off in my video the other day, which we were looking at, if you haven't watched it, please go and have a watch of it. It's basically talking about buffs and food buffs. Now, there was one buff I missed off that list, and that's Tuline's Favors, alright? So, these things are quite handy as well. So, Wicked Harvest, this is one buff. I've got 9 of these available. Basically, it rewards a smuggler's supply chest upon defeating an elite enemy, and the duration is for 1 hour. So, that is really handy if you are planning to grind out some elite warships. Chuck this buff on. Another one here is increases the amount of event currency earned during time limited events. Again, this is quite handy. So this is your purple events, right? We've just had the Moonshiner event. This would be perfect for that. So the duration on this is 3 hours. So if you're spending a few hours on Skull and Bones and you're going to be doing a lot of purple events, chuck this buff on. And lastly, this is a one that helps out with the refinery, and it reduces the time it takes to refine items. So you occasionally get items that might take an hour or 2. I've had some items that take several hours or even 24 hours, I think, with some items. When you go to your refinery, which is over here, then using that Tuline's Favor is going to be helpful if you need to make something, right? And for me, I've only ever needed to make something to, for ascending weapons, so things like your sinew string, or building a ship at the shipwright. So that's all I've got for you today, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. This was just kind of one I'd been thinking about over the past couple of days. I was clearing out my inventory the other day. I'd maxed out my warehouse space, and I was painstakingly going through and basically salvaging all my weapons. So I thought, you know what, guys, this might be a good video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Tune in next time for another video. Thank you again for watching to the end, and I hope that you like and subscribe to the video. Until next time, have a good one. Cheers.